All right, what's up, everyone? Today we have measurement and area. If you're in person, you should have gotten a ruler. If you are remote, we're just going to follow along the best we can, unless you have a ruler and you have printed off the notes yourself. If you've done that, then great. If you don't have a ruler, then it is completely fine. So let's start with the first task. So Mr. Thompson's class is creating a replica of a baseball park. We're going to use a ruler to measure the dimensions of each figure included in the replica. Then choose the appropriate formula and solve for the area of the figure. So we have to do a couple of things here. We have to measure the base. We have to measure the height. We need to write down our formula, plug in our values, and then solve. We need to find the area. So what I would like for you to do first is I would like for you to measure the base. So go ahead and you can pause it and go ahead and measure the base. Hopefully after you have measured, you should have gotten 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Now what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to measure, whoops, I don't want that one, I want a highlighter. I want you to measure the height. Now remember, the height goes from the tallest point of the triangle and it makes a 90-degree angle with the base. So go ahead and pause and get that measured. After you measured, hopefully you saw that it was 4 inches. 4 inches. So now that we have our base and our height, we can solve for the area. So remember, the formula to find the area of a triangle is A equals BH divided by 2. So what I would like for you to do, go ahead and pause, plug in your values, and then you can unpause to see if you are correct. All right, so hopefully this is what your answer looks like after you plug in your values. And let's go ahead and solve together. So remember, the first thing that we have to do is we have to solve everything on top before we can divide by 2. So I have 2.5 or 2.5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And I cannot forget about that pesky little decimal. And I move the decimal 1 time. So 2.5 times 4 equals 10. So I'm going to move up top so I have a little bit more room. And I should have area equals 10 divided by 2. And we know that 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now what I cannot forget is inches squared. I cannot forget my label. So again, this is kind of all we're doing today. We are still working with our formulas and our shapes, but we're just adding measurement to it. So let's look at letter A. So if the fabric costs 25 cents per square inch, then how much will it cost to create 5 replica pennants? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to figure out how much one pennant costs. So if one pennant is 5 inches squared and it's 25 cents per square inch, then I'm going to multiply these two numbers together to get the cost of one pennant. So go ahead and pause and do this for me. And then unpause whenever you get your answer to check yours. Alrighty, so it costs $1.25 per one pennant. But my question is asking, how much will it cost to create 5 pennants? So we are going to multiply 125 by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Carry my 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. And I have to move my decimal 2 times. So my answer is it's going to cost $6.25 to create 5 pennants. All right, let's move on to number 2. And as always, you can pause to finish writing, or maybe you wanted to look something over again. You absolutely have that opportunity. So let's look at task number 2. In the bullpen, there is a pitching net. How many square inches of netting make up the replica net? So the first thing that I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to write my formula down, because this is a trapezoid. So I need to figure out, what do I need in order to solve this problem? So if we remember, the formula for a trapezoid is height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. And if you forget and you're in person, it's in the back of the room. The back of the room. So based on my formula, I know I need height, I need base 1, and I need base 2. So what I would like for you to do is I want you to go ahead and I want you to measure base 1. I want you to measure base 2. And I would like for you to measure the height. Remember, the height is from the tallest point, and it makes a 90-degree angle with the base. So go ahead and pause and measure those things that I have asked you to measure, and then after you have, come on back and check your answers. All right, so hopefully you're back. Base 1, after measuring, was 1, I'm going to make that a better color, was 1.5 inches. The height was 2 inches, and base number 2 was 3 inches. So now let's go ahead and plug in our values. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So I have area equals the height, 2, base 1, 1.5, plus base 2, which is 3. Now, could you do 3 plus 1.5 instead of 1.5 plus 3? Absolutely, you're going to get the same answer. All right, and all of that divided by 2. So let's go ahead and solve. So remember, based on my order of operations, I have to do whatever is inside the parentheses first. So in this case, it's 1.5 plus 3. When I add those together, I get 4.5. So I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to write that out. So my height of 2 now is going to be multiplied by 4.5. And I'm going to divide all that by 2. So 4.5 times 2 gives me 9. And 9 divided by 2 gives me 4.5. So remember, this is kind of like the question that we had the other day. Whenever I'm multiplying whatever I'm multiplying the same number that I'm dividing by, it's going to give me the same outcome. Okay, so those two things can just cancel out. So the area of the pitching net is 4.5 inches squared. Remember, anytime we're talking about area, it's inches squared. So go ahead and you can pause and finish writing if you need that opportunity. If you're ready, go ahead and flip on over to the back. All right, task number 3. So the stadium announcer sits at a table in the shape of a parallelogram. What is the area in inches that the announcer has to set up his equipment? Okay, so the stadium announcer is going to be sitting at this parallelogram. So let's write the formula for a parallelogram to see what we need to measure. So remember, the formula of a parallelogram is area equals base times height. So I know in my measurements, I need to measure the base and I need to measure the height. So let's go ahead and do that. I want you to measure the base, and I would also like you to measure the height. Remember, the height makes a 90-degree angle with the base. So go ahead and pause and do that, and then come on back and check your answers. All right, hopefully you're back. When I measured, I got 3.5 inches for my base, and I got 1.5 inches for my height. If you didn't get that, go ahead and go back and measure that. Alrighty, let's plug in our values. Plug in our values. So I have area equals B, so 3.5, and H, 1.5. So what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to pause and I would like for you to solve, and then come on back and check your answer. All right, so let's multiply. I have 3.5 and 1.5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2, that's 17. Now I have to add my magic 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. So then we add 7 plus 5 is 12. 3, 4, 5. Now, I have 2 places after the decimal, which means I need to move my decimal 2 places. So the parallelogram has an area of 5.25 inches squared. Could you do all of this in fractions? Absolutely, you would get the same answer. Completely up to you. All right, task number 4. In the outfield, signs display the team's previous league awards like the replica on the right. What is the area of the sign in inches? So let's go ahead and write our formula for a rectangle to know what we have to measure for. So my formula is A equals BH. So I need to measure for a base and I need to measure for a height. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's measure the base and also let's measure the height. So go ahead and pause, do that, and then come on back. All right, the base should be 3 inches, give or take. And the height should be 2 inches, give or take. So now let's plug in our answers or our values. So area equals base of 3, height of 2. So this seems like a pretty simple one. I can multiply these together and I get my area. And we know that 3 times 2 gives me 6. And then my label is inches squared because we are dealing with area. All right, we have an extra question to this one, so let's check it out. The team has 7 awards hanging in the outfield. How many square inches do the awards occupy? So we just solved for one of the awards. And I know that one of the awards is 6 inches squared. So I would like for you to pause the video and try to figure out this next question. Once you have an answer, come on back and we'll talk through it. All right, hopefully you have an answer. We solved for 1, but we need to know 7. So hopefully everyone multiplied 7 times 6 for 7 awards, and hopefully that you got 42. Now I can't leave off my label, so 42 inches squared. All right, as always, you can go back and you can listen to these notes, or you can email me if you have any questions. Bye, guys.